Wake yo asses up. There's no TIO Al, but we still got some friends. Pete Kennedy and Hector Beauchamp here today, filling in for our buddies TIO Al Cintron and Anthony Gallo. We couldn't miss another week, though. We missed last week, and we're back here today to talk some New York Knicks playoffs just 48 hours away. A little less than that, actually.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Pete. Yes, I want to talk Knicks and Pistons and playoff preview, and we're gonna talk some basketball as well. But I'm low key. We're gonna have to talk about that Daredevil episode, like towards the end. At the end, we're gonna hijack the show. We're gonna get Al real upset when we start talking Marvel.
Dude, we got to do it and just tag it all on TIO Al Cintron on his Twitter. Talk more Marvel, talk more anime. Gallo will be hyped. Gallo's on our side. Now we got to talk about the Daredevil. Maybe the Fantastic Four trailer too. At the end.
Both, absolutely.
Because that was fire. That trailer was something. No, I'm telling you, they're cooking with something over there with the Fantastic Four. We'll save that for later.
Kevin Feige and the Mouse, they cooking up something beautiful over there. I'm just glad that the Marvel's first family with the Fantastic Four, they're back home and they could probably be treated properly.
And the family is growing. If you saw that last trailer as well. And also, no one ever questioned if they can make a trailer. They can make a good trailer. That's for sure.
Facts. So no, for sure. No,
lives up to it.
No, 100%. And talking about a family, we got to talk about the family at the Garden with the New York Knicks. Go ahead, P. I'll let you lead the conversation. Shout out to Future in the chat, folks as well that are tuning in. We passed 5,000 subscribers over the weekend. Appreciate all the new subscribers. We are at 5,070 subscribers on the channel. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Go ahead, Pete.
Hell yeah, that's right. Subscribe to Uptown Sports TV. You know what we do here. So many great shows too, by the way. Hector, you got to mention all. You don't have to mention them all right now, but we know we got Yankees coverage, Knicks coverage, TIO Al Friends, among so many great other stuff on Uptown Sports. But right now, we talking some New York Knicks, and the Knicks are ready for a first-round playoff matchup against the Detroit Pistons. Heck, right now this city is feeling some type of way because it depends who you see and depends who you talk to when it comes to Knicks fans right now. Because you have one Knicks fan on one hand, you got one Knicks fan on the other hand, and one saying, yo, we're washing the Detroit Pistons. That guy is Al Cintron. Then there's someone maybe like me who's a little bit more nervous. And heck, you have a clip ready or you want to give your opinion first?
I'm gonna give my opinion first real quick. Sorry about the background noise with the clip playing in the background. But for me, when it comes down to it, like you said, a lot of Knicks fans wishy-washy, right? And I was just on a Twitter space when I was running over here to join my guy Pete Kennedy to have this conversation. And one thing that, to me, it seems like Knicks fans, we are not used to having a good team, Pete. We aren't used to this time of the season getting ready for the postseason. We're normally making our mock draft videos, right? We're normally getting ready to draft Frank Ntilikina and Kevin Knox. But right now, we have a team that we can finally say, with the brain trust at the top, with Leon Rose and front office, with Tom Thibodeau, we have a level of consistency that we have not seen in a very long time with the New York Knicks. And some of the fan base are not used to what we're seeing on the court when it comes to this team. Now, I'm going to take a step back. And everything that you said about Cade Cunningham, I'll play the clip in a second, is on point. I was a big fan of Cade Cunningham coming out of college. I was one of those Knicks fans, fade for Cade, trying to hope that the Knicks would get the ping pong to bounce in their favor. Cade Cunningham is a beast. JB Bickerstaff and that Detroit Pistons is not anything to sleep on. One thing that I say, Pete, this Piston team reminds me of the Knicks when Tom Thibodeau first came aboard, when we was finding our identity, when we was finding out great, we were the laughing stock of the NBA. The Pistons for the past few years were the laughing stock, and now they're switching things up.
Now, 100%. I made the same point on my pod earlier in the week on Subway Sports Talk. You go line by line, bar for bar, with the Knicks teams from 2 years ago, even last year, to the Pistons team right now. You got that offensive engine in Cade Cunningham, a la Jalen Brunson. You got that Swiss Army knife, do it all, Osor Thompson, a la Josh Hart. You got some bigs, two bigs that make a big impact on both sides of the ball. Jalen Duren, Isaiah Stewart, Mitch Robinson, Isaiah Hartenstein. Like, maybe they don't got the wings as good as OG and McHale. I'm sorry, we're talking about the Knicks from last year or 2 years ago, right? So we didn't have McHale. We just got OG. This is the same thing. Tim Hardaway, Malik Beasley, Dante DiVincenzo, right? There's so many parallels to this old Knicks team. And heck, I said this too. If Knicks fans weren't going to just hate the Pistons, because they're going to make us hate them, guaranteed. I think we would see, if we could take the fan goggles off, we would go, you know what? Respect. Real recognizable. I like the cut of this team's jib, but we're going to hate. That's what the Knicks did to other teams the past 2 years.
Yeah, I think this first round matchup between the Knicks and the Pistons, it may be the best first round matchup in a long time. When you look at the Pistons, the way that they play defensively, the New York Knicks, Tom Thibodeau, the battle of the coaches between Tibbs and JB Bickerstaff, I think this matchup in the first round, do not sleep on the Detroit Pistons. I heard a lot of Knicks fans walking around with their chest saying it's going to be easy. If they push us to 6 or 7 games, I'm going to be disappointed. Well, get ready to be disappointed because this may be a tough 6 or 7 game series. I want it to be done in 5. Granted, Pete, if we could get a sweep, I'll take the sweep. But I'm not shading the Detroit Pistons. They have proven everybody wrong. They started off horrendously. How many games did they lose to start the season, Pete? And now look, they're probably one of the best teams in the NBA. If you just remove that first month of the season.
Yeah, it's no joke. And you know, I got to give a quick shout to my guy Mike from Brooklyn right here on Twitter, calling me a closet Piston fan. You know, I blame our boy TIO Al Friends called me a closeted Pistons fan on WFAN this weekend. I had to go up there and defend myself. And I said, hey, I may not be a closeted Pistons fan, but I am a full out Cade Cunningham fan. And that's just fact. And honestly, I'm going to be honest here. If the Pistons were playing any other team in this playoff, I would be rooting for them. I would be.
I think every other Knicks fan as well will be rooting for them, right? And shout out to Al. I was listening late night when you and Al was on when you called in. And also shout out to Anthony Gallo. Both Gallo and TIO Al have been getting more time on WFAN, and it's well needed, right? We need their voices late night. So they're both killing it as well. You, Pete, as well, killing it, working the boards. Shout out to everybody that's in the building. We got over 60 people watching us collectively on Instagram as well. If you're on Instagram, click the link in the bio, jump on over to YouTube, give us a like, give us a follow, and hit that subscribe button. Pete, I'm going to play that clip that you was talking about from your show. Also, make sure you go and subscribe to my guy Pete Kennedy's channel. The link is in the description right now. Hold on, let me play it.
On WFAN this past Saturday night with Al Cintron, that Cade Cunningham is going to average 33 points, 11 assists, and 8 rebounds. And you might say, Pete, that's ridiculous. Those stats are dumb. Well, let me tell you something. Over the course of this season, Cade Cunningham got 31 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds on 56% field goal shooting and 50% from 3 for Cade Cunningham against the New York Knicks in 2024-2025. That's the bar. He's going to clear it. He is an offensive engine all by himself. I predicted on WFAN this past Saturday. That guy is awesome.
Yeah, he really is. I'm trying to turn off the volume right now. That's how much he's killing it right now. Make sure you guys go and follow and subscribe to Subway Sports Talk. Go and follow him on the TikTok as well, and follow me on the TikTok as well. Pete, any feedback that you got from people in that take? Well, did you see, like, was it 50-50, more people against you, more people on your side? Were you surprised that people actually took your side when it came to that take?
I think the overarching takeaway on Cade Cunningham from most of the commenters and people in my life, you know, not on social media, was, no, he's awesome. So, like, I don't disagree with you, but you're pushing it too hard. He's not going to go as far up as you're saying he's going to go, because it gets more intense in the playoffs, and the Knicks will focus all their energy to stop him. What I say to that, though, is on the contrary. When it comes to playoff time, just like Jalen Brunson has done, you get more opportunities. You get more balls thrown your way when no one else knows what to do with it, because it's that much more intense. When you're in the half court, that much more. He's going to be asked to do more, and that's why I think he's going to put up some of these numbers. I mean, we've seen guys like Donovan Mitchell and Jamal Murray in playoff series in the past kind of go in there in first round, second round, all of a sudden, like, they're averaging what? Because it's a small sample size, and they have the ability to score 45 in a game. And that's what we're looking at with Cade Cunningham. So if they can slow him down from 3 and obviously keep him from getting too comfortable near the rim, maybe they can hold him to 26 to 28 points a game. But heck, I think 33 plus is a lock.
Yeah. Hey, listen, when you look at Cade Cunningham, you pointed it out. The fact that he's such a bigger guard, and you have Jalen Brunson as our point guard. Mikal Bridges, you know they're going to be forcing that switch, trying to get Jalen Brunson to guard Cade Cunningham. And if you're Cade Cunningham, you have to take advantage of that matchup. The one thing I pointed out when I was on Twitter earlier, when it comes to the Jalen Brunson and Cade Cunningham matchup, I think the most important part of it is when Jalen Brunson and Cade is not on the court, right? Who is going to step up in the absence of both of their team leaders? Is Deuce McBride, is he going to step step up. We know Tom Thibodeau has been grooming Deuce McBride for this moment to be that backup to Jalen Brunson. We know he's going to bring it defensively, and you've seen the growth and maturity coming from Deuce McBride as a point guard and as a playmaker on that court. Shout out to my guy Gideon in the building, G Money. How you doing, my guy G Money? Of course, Yankee Country in the building. If you guys want to join a great baseball community and a great baseball Discord, shout out to my guy Yankee Country, one of the greatest Discords that is out there right now. Go ahead, Pete, my fault.
Did you shadow ban the name Juan Soto in that Yankees Discord, or are you guys still all complaining? What's going on over there in the Yankees group chat? Y'all talk about Juan Soto or what?
Listen. When it comes to Juan Jose Pacheco Soto, I'm happy that he got his bag. But if I'm Pete Alonso, I'm feeling some type of way. We can save that for when we jump into the Mets conversation, Pete.
Nah, it's a good teaser for later because we will be talking Mets and Yankees. Obviously, they're playing right now as well. Last I checked, the Mets are up 4-1, and the Yankees are tied 1-1. I'm not sure if that score's changed. I'll check in a minute. But if I have to try to beat the allegations here for a second, heck, right? Because I am starting to lean into this thing where I'm talking up the Pistons a lot. I respect the hell out of them. Obviously, you know how I feel about Cade Cunningham. This Knicks team, it is important to note, they have the advantage in every aspect of this game. Because if you go one by one, all the strengths of both teams, I think the Knicks win every category. For some reason, that doesn't make me that much more confident, but that's the path, right? Like they are like the guys who, if you go down, Jalen Brunson's better than Cade right here, right now, right? Even though I love Cade, here, right now, you got to take Brunson. The wings are better with OG and McHale than the Detroit Wings. Cat is better than Duran and Stewart. Deuce McBride is neck and neck, if not a little better than Dennis Schroeder. Like they check all the boxes. So that's the ticket. They have to take advantage of their advantages, bully their matchup wins. And to me, that's an X factor that might just be OG Anunoby. Because who's guarding him? If Ausar Thompson, who might be their best defender, is going to be tasked with slowing Jalen Brunson down, that means you got Tobias Harris or Tim Hardaway or Beasley or Stewart on OG. He's got either strength, shooting, or the ability to drive on any of those dudes. So I want to see one of those guys like OG or McHale have that series we've been praying for all season long.
I want to shout out my guys, Ron and John from Still Knick Fans in the building. Ron, I hope all is well. Ron's a Met fan and a Knick fan, and John's a Yankee fan and a Knick fan. So it's a great combination they have over there in Still Knick Fans. Make sure you guys go and give the family some love and support over there. But no, I want to piggyback off of you and Future. Future, when we talk Yankees, I'll throw the link for the open panel. You could come up.
Yeah, let's go.
For me, right, the player that I'm worried about, right, and I know this is probably going to go past your head, Pete. You'll be like, what are you talking about? Tim Hardaway Jr. Hardaway Jr., whenever he plays against the Knicks, he has the ability, and we've seen it in the past, him to be the thorn in the Knicks' ass. We've seen him time and time again have big games, score 20 points, 30 points, and he can score with the best of them. He could turn into a microwave scorer. If you play NBA 2K, you know what I mean, the microwave bass. He definitely has it. He could score you some points like that. You know, he's not he doesn't have the athleticism of J.R. Smith, but he's that type of player. He's that type of volume scorer. And when you have your game plan focusing on Cade Cunningham, focusing on the other guys on that lineup, Tim Hardaway Jr. falls in the back of your mind when you have game time and when you're prepping with the matchups.
And to piggyback off that, do you know off the top of your head, do you have an idea who the three best shooters of three-pointers were this season? Because there's two names that were kind of obvious, and then there's one that's in this series.
I would say Malik Beasley. Because I know Malik Beasley, he goes off. We saw Giannis try to give him the shimmy. He wasn't feeling that from Giannis. Like, yo, bro, I don't care if we were former teammates, bro. Get out of my face.
So this year, heck, Anthony Edwards, Stephen Curry, Malik Beasley. That's the big three of three-point shooters in the NBA this year. So you combine the sharp shooting with Tim Hardaway that you just mentioned with Malik Beasley. To me, that's enough to win 2 games. Like, and they're going to have to get hot. They're going to have to hit these big shots. And we all know for damn sure Tobias Harris is disappearing in 4 out of these 6 games. But like Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr., they're scary, man. Remember when Buddy Hield last year against the Knicks was like getting, all of a sudden he looked like Klay Thompson again? Like one quarter he didn't know how to shoot or dribble the basketball. And the next game he couldn't miss. Like you're going to have that same exact fear with Beasley and Tim Hardaway. When they touch the ball and they go to the shooting motion, you're going to go, oh no.
Yeah.
Because if they start hitting scores can flip real quick. And that's
Mhm.
the place you can't be if you're the Knicks right now. You can't let the Pistons go up 14 in the first quarter. You can't let those runs happen.
I want to ask you, with the way that the Knicks ended the season, right? We played the Celtics, we played the Pistons, we played the Nets. I know we beat the Nets. But to me, it seemed like Tom Thibodeau was taking his foot off the gas when we got towards the fourth quarter. Was that more of strategy, game plan, or just not showing his cards, all of his cards to all of the teams? Because it felt like that Pistons game, we had it in the bag, and he just took his foot off the gas. Same thing with that Celtics game. We were whooping the Celtics ass, and Tom Thibodeau felt like he pulled back. What's your thoughts on it? Should I get the aluminum foil? Am I a conspiracy theorist, Pete?
Now, you know what? You might not be a conspiracy theorist, because if I'm not mistaken, was that the game where the Pacers lost that game? So we then knew the Knicks were locked into the 3, or no? That wasn't that, was it?
No, I think it was the game before that. I don't think it was the actual game.
Because if that was the case, then it's like, all right, we're locked in the 3. Maybe I can let my guys get 3 minutes of rest. But no, you know what it could be too, honestly? It could have been Rick Brunson wearing him down and finally saying, dude, this game doesn't matter. We need our guys to rest. We need to be right next week, not right now. And maybe Tibbs finally learned something, but guess what? Now it's back to pedal to the metal. So there was a strong chance they were playing each other when they played that game. Obviously, the Pistons looked a little more hungry, but the Knicks should have won that game, right? That's not indicative of what this matchup is going to look like. So I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I do think there's a chance that they were like, hey, listen, we're locked at 3. It's all good. And now is the chance we could actually like rest for once in our lives, right? So that was my kind of takeaway. But I have a question for you, Heck.
What's up?
With Cade Cunningham, and I got a comment here from G, what do you call him? G Money?
G-Money.
In the chat here. He says OG needs to hound Cade. Do you think OG Anunoby is the best defender for this matchup? Do you think it's going to be more OG or more Mikal, or maybe, someone else pops up?
OG Anunoby is our best defender on this Knicks team. And if you want to stop the Detroit Pistons, you have to stop their point of attack. And their point of attack is their point guard, who is their best player. So if I'm the Knicks, if I'm Tom Thibodeau, I'm putting the big body of OG Anunoby on Cade Cunningham. The same way the Detroit Pistons are going to use the Thompson twin to be on top of Jalen Brunson with his big body. So I said you got to do the same thing. Now, if other players start catching fire, maybe you could switch, but this Mikal Bridges needs to step up, because when the Knicks traded for Mikal Bridges, we were sold a bag of goods of this guy, a solid defender, one of the top defenders in the league. Every time he's playing the Celtics and we put him on Jason Tatum lights him up, right? Whenever you put Mikal Bridges on the best player of the opposing team, he gets lit up. But when you put OG Anunoby on that player, it's a different story. And yes, we already know what OG is going to be, but if anyone needs to step up defensively, it needs to be Mikal Bridges. He needs to live up to that bag of goods we were sold, Pete.
And I'm very interested what Tibbs is going to do, right? Because you have decisions to make. When you have lineups in there, when Schroeder comes in off the bench, right? So now you got Cade, you got Schroeder, you got, say, Beasley and Thompson and one of the bigs, right? You got 2.5 ball handlers there in, Cade, Schroeder, and maybe Thompson or Beasley, whoever it may be. Who goes where? So if OG's on Cade, who's on Schroeder? Does that go to Josh Hart? Does Deuce McBride have to be in the game there? Does Mikal Bridges run around with Schroeder, or do you have him run around with Beasley? Right. So I'm so interested in what Tibbs is going to try to pull defensively in this series, because you're going to end up having to switch a lot. And the Knicks have the luxury here. Like, if Josh Hart or Deuce McBride gets switched onto Cade for a possession or two here and there, we're all right. It's not ideal, but it's not bad. So that switchability there becomes so huge. And that leads me to my next big question here. Heck,
what's up?
Mitchell Robinson. How much impact can he have on this series? And do we see him crack the starting lineup at some point just to balance out that defense that they might need?
I just got to point something out. Shout out to my guy, Pete Kennedy. We like ESPN right here, bro, because you brought up Mitchell Robinson, and I had a video ready to go with Mitchell Robinson talking to the media about this series.
What's your emotion like now it's a playoffs?
Eating.
I'm ready to go. Get out there and fight and compete for the city.
And if you're a Knicks fan, right, especially if you're a Knicks fan that's been complaining about Mitchell Robinson, wanted to trade Mitchell Robinson, the Loch Ness monster that's Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson and Karl Anthony Towns towards the end of the season, we saw them on the court at the same time. That's what I'm interested to see. Are the New York Knicks finally going to let the Twin Towers actually control everything on the court? Are you going to allow Tom Thibodeau to play? Is Tom Thibodeau going to allow Mitchell Robinson and Karl Anthony Towns to play side by side next to each other? That's what I'm worried about. If Mitchell Robinson can stay healthy, if Mitchell Robinson can stay out of foul trouble, just like Cat needs to stay out of foul trouble, I think defensively, we all know what Mitchell Robinson can do. We need that, especially if you want to keep Cade Cunningham from operating in the low block.
Yeah, and I'm team Mitch, man, for real. I'm so happy that we did not trade that man. I think his impact in a playoff series specifically is so vast because of the offensive rebounding and then obviously the defense. I liken it to this possibly too, Heck, because I love the idea of him starting.
What's up?
Think about Kevon Looney and Andrew Bogut for the Warriors in the past, right? They're centers who are true centers, and maybe they play 18 minutes, maybe they play 34 minutes. You never kind of knew it, depending on how the game was going. But they started because they set a tone. And they didn't let you get bullied from the get-go. And to me, that's who Mitchell Robinson could be for this Knicks team. Even if he starts, it doesn't mean all of a sudden he's playing 36 minutes. That's okay. He might still play 20. But the impact that he could have early and the way he can then flip the way the rotations kind of roll out the rest of the game, I think that could be huge for them because it takes so much pressure off Cat early and it allows Cat to attack on offense early. And to me, your two best offensive players, for as good as OG has been in the last 2 weeks, is still Brunson and Cat, right? So if Cat's not worried about protecting the rim and you got Mitch there, that could be a dangerous duo to start off the game offensively for the Knicks without not just giving up on defense, but getting better defense as well.
Yeah, I know you brought up Bogut and Looney, but you don't even have to go that far back. Within the past 5 or 6 years, we saw it with the Lakers when they had Anthony Davis and Dwight Howard on the court at the same time. I know Mitchell Robinson and Karl Anthony Towns, two different players than the players that I mentioned, but they were twin towers. When you look at Dwight Howard, a force in the paint who could block some shots, get some rebounds. Anthony Davis can stretch the floor. That's the same formula you have with Mitchell Robinson and Karl Anthony Towns. If you could have Mitchell Robinson be that dominant center who can make you switch up when you're coming down the lane, block some shots, get some rebound, allow Karl Anthony Towns to stretch the floor, is going to make it so much harder for the Detroit Pistons to match up against the Knicks.
And one more name for you, JaVale McGee, from when inside the NBA would just be screaming his name. And then finally he was a 2-time champion and they couldn't do it anymore.
Listen, I thought, it's clickbait, right? I felt that whole like Shaq and the Fool with JaVale McGee, it got out of line. Shaq is that old uncle that says the same dad joke over and over again after, he likes to beat the bush, but at the same time, I would never say that to his face because he could just squash it just like that with his palm.
And if you poke at Shaq, you know what I mean? He'll just be like, yeah, how many rings you got?
Yeah. Well,
So-
Shaq almost smacked the shit out of Aiden Ross this past weekend, so I'm not trying to get on Shaq's bad side.
Was that real? Was that real?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was a bit.
No, that's real. That's real.
What was he mad about? No joke. I seen that on TikTok and I was like, yeah, this is definitely just a bit. Like Aiden Ross is just doing a streaming bit. Like it's all good. And it was real.
If it is a bit, kudos to them for hyping it up, marking it up, because you had my boomer ass confused. But to me, it was Shaq.
You're not a boomer.
Shaq was eating something and Aiden smacked it up, and then Shaq got really upset and he ain't take that person. I mean, he ain't like that. He took that personal.
Oh, you don't mess with another man's food, bro.
Exactly. Yeah, that's one thing I learned. Shout out to my guy, John, the Beagle Dad, that is in the building. I love the name and I love the profile pic always, John. Appreciate you. Like I said, folks, earlier, we got over 130 people in the building rocking out with us. If you guys can, smack that like button, hit that subscribe button. When it comes to subscribers on YouTube, we are sitting at 5,074 subscribers, 4 new subscribers on the stream. So help us out. Keep on hitting that like button. Pete, last question. Go ahead, Pete, my fault.
Oh, I was just saying, then we could rub it in Al's face that we got more viewers without him.
Shout out to TIO Al. We miss you, TIO Al. We miss you, our guy, Anthony Gallo. But last question. We're going to keep on going with the New York Knicks. The schedule, right? I have it pulled up over here. I just want to highlight the schedule real quick, and we could just break it down. Because when you see it, the schedule, the one thing that popped out to me is the amount of days that are in between game 2 and game 3. I get it. You want to have guys rest. But next week, the Knicks play Monday, Thursday, Sunday. It seems like these games are just too far apart. For me, I'm a selfish fan. I want my ADHD. I need it all the time, every day. That's why I like baseball. What's your thoughts, Pete?
So I'm going to say this. As Knicks fans, we should be thankful because guess who this benefits? The team that's a touch older, the team with a lot more miles on them from this regular season. So you're talking about Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns and OG Anunoby getting an extra day's rest here, even from the normal playoff days rest. So I love it. I'm all for it. The adrenaline carries you through 1 and 2. You get an extra day for 3, an extra day for 4. So when the Knicks are traveling, they're going to be extra rested. I love it for the Knicks selfishly, but I do agree from the standpoint of playoff momentum. This is what people do complain about with the NHL, the NBA, and the MLB playoffs. Sometimes it just takes too long, man, right? Like we're starting the playoffs on Saturday. This goes till what, June 5th or something like that?
It goes to 2 months, bro. It starts in April and it ends in May.
It's going to be, the All-Star break in baseball by the time, the finals tip off. So I do agree the schedule could be a little frustrating in that regard.
Yeah.
But from a Knicks perspective, this is an absolute win.
Yeah, no, like I said, selfishly as a Knicks fan, I want to be able to see them every day playing. But like you said, it benefits the Knicks because the Knicks are a little bit older. We know Tom Thibodeau liked to play his guys 40 minutes, 44 minutes. We know that from Tom Thibodeau, especially in the postseason. So like you said, having those days off in between game 1, game 2, game 3, it's a big beneficial factor for the New York Knicks. But again, I'm going to just be selfish as that Knicks fan that wants to see them all day, every day. One more other thing that I saw that was surprising to me, when you look at the Detroit Pistons, 0-14, they haven't won a playoff game since 2008, right? I don't know how to take that stat, Pete. On one hand, I'm like, all right, cool, that's in our favor. But at the same time, it's like they're due for a win. They're due for a playoff series win. So I don't. That's why I say I don't want to really count the Detroit Pistons out because the odds, yes, it's in our favor, but at the same time, rule of thumb, whatever goes wrong has to be corrected and goes right at least once.
Now, let me say this to be a little bit of a hater here on ESPN Bets social media graphic here. All right. 91% of bets are on the Pistons to win the series versus the New York Knicks. That's because the Knicks are minus 400. Who's taking that, man? No one's doing that. What are we doing here? I'm betting $20 a pop here. I ain't putting 20 to win $4. I'm just not, you know what I mean? I'm not doing it. So yeah, if I wasn't a Knicks fan and I'm watching the series, I'm not betting on the Knicks minus 400. So that's a misleading stat, but I'm sure it got some fun attention for them on ESPN Bet there. But no, I know what you mean. And I remember that Blake Griffin Pistons team because I loved when Blake Griffin had that renaissance. He really did. Like he showed up to Detroit. Everyone's like, the Clippers just sent him there to die. And what did he do? Have an all NBA season and balled out and they made the playoffs. I was rooting for them then. So they're due to get a taste. They're due to get a win or two in this series. But nah, it's not going to be a series win, Hack. I feel like now is our time to make our final predictions for this series here, but it's not going to be a win. For as much as I have hyped up the Pistons and I'm taking them very seriously, it's not going to be a series win for Detroit.
Yeah, same. Listen, the Knicks, they're going to pull this out. I'm a Knicks fan, right? Do you want it to go 6 or 7 games? How many games do you want to go, Pete? I want to get that take before I give my final take on it.
How many do I want it to go or how many do I think it's going to go? I want it to go 5, right?
Yeah.
You need to get punched in the face a little bit in the first round there. Granted, if they play 4 tight games and win a sweep, I'll be ecstatic. So yeah, sure, I'll go 4. But if you go 5, I'll be absolutely thrilled. But in my opinion, and not just my opinion, but my dollars, I am putting that on Knicks in 6. On DraftKings, that's plus 425. If you go Knicks in 7, I think it's plus 385. I can pull that up in a minute here. But I'm going Knicks in 6. That's been my thought all along, and that's what I'm going to stick with. So yeah, Knicks in 6. That's my game.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the same way. I want it to be 5, right? But I'm not gonna be mad if it gets pushed to 6 games. I may pop a blood vessel if it gets pushed to 7, but I can see it going 6 games, and I'll be happy with that. It's gonna be a hard-fought series. The Detroit Pistons, like you said, with Kay Cunningham, they're gonna come out young. The young gunners are gonna try to run up the score and run up the minutes. That's what that's the style of basketball JB Bickerstaff plays. But with Tom Thibodeau, I'm gonna need to see Tom Thibodeau use more of his bench, something that we don't normally see from Tom Thibodeau. And I know a lot of people saying, open up your rotation, go with a 10-man rotation. We know Tom Thibodeau is going to stick with 8 or 9 guys that he trusts, his 8 guys that he goes to roll with. But I would like to see some versatility from Tom Thibodeau. Hopefully we get to that second round. Not hopefully, when we get to that second round to face either the Celtics or whoever is in that second round matchup. But I just want to see Tom Thibodeau be a little bit more versatile when it comes to his bench pieces, when it comes to his minutes, and don't run Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, and OG Anunoby in the ground, especially Jalen Brunson coming back from injury. And we all know the injury concerns we have with OG Anunoby. The last thing we need is OG Anunoby to pull a hamstring in the first round versus the Pistons because he played 40 minutes in the first 2 games. We don't need that.
God, yeah, no, we do not need that. But let me ask you one more quick question. So we're
What's
both
up?
on Knicks and 6. Give me a non-starter X factor. If there's one bench player for the Knicks, who is going to have that like signature moment where all of a sudden it's the fourth quarter, there's 5 minutes left, and somebody comes in for 2 minutes and just like makes amazing plays? Who's your pick for bench X factor for the Knicks?
Oh man, I've been nicknaming them the Wu-Tang Clan for the Knicks, but it's Campaign, DeLon Wright, and
Yes.
and Deuce McBride. Those 3, I know you said 1, but those 3 for me is going to be DeLon Wright. You saw how he played in the absence of Jalen Brunson, and he's earned his minutes. He's earned to play some postseason minutes. To me, DeLon Wright is going to be the X factor. You've seen he's been a solid defender. He's a spark plug. He can be that extension of Tom Thibodeau when Jalen Brunson is not on the court, and that's what the Knicks have missed. In the Jalen Brunson era, in the Tom Thibodeau, Jalen Brunson era, we've missed that backup point guard. That's that extension of Tom Thibodeau. And I think DeLon Wright could be that guy.
The word that I would use is organizer, right? Like, you know, we talk about the Houston Rockets and how like, oh, who's their go-to guy? Is it Jalen Green or Alperen Şengün? But at the end of the day, like Fred VanVleet's the one who's making like some of the big decisions to get them there, right? DeLon Wright has some of that in him. And I was so shocked that he didn't get any burn for so long when he first came over. Because I'm like, this guy is a proven defender. He shot like crap so far this year, but he can shoot the ball. Like, let's see what he's got here. So I'm happy that he's getting the look. And I do agree, he's not going to be overwhelmed. He's been here before. You know, he's going to know what to do and how to get the ball rolling for the New York Knicks. Whereas, you know, in years past, we're talking about backup point guards. It was Dante, Hart, and Deuce. And as much as we love Deuce, he's more of like a shot creating point guard backup.
He's in between a 1 and 2, more 2 than anything else, more defender than anything else.
And like he could run a little pick and roll, he could step back, he can pull up, all that stuff's great. But like DeLon Wright's going to organize you. He's going to get you in sets, and that could be huge. But I'm gonna go my X factor off the bench, Landry Shamet. I think Shamet has a game where he hits 5 threes. Shamet's going to have one game where he pops off and he's going to hit 5 threes, and it's going to help swing a quarter where he hits 3 threes in like 6 minutes or something like that. And we know Campaign could do the same thing because he did it to the Knicks last year with the Sixers.
Yeah. Listen, Shaman is that extra member of the Wu-Tang Clan. I just blanked on his name for a second, but no, Landry Shaman, I got to agree with you, Pete, with everything you said. I know in preseason he got hurt with his shoulder. It looked really nasty. Kudos to him for his recovery, and kudos to the Knicks medical staff helping him during that time frame because it looked real bad when he was coming off the court. But Landry Shaman has been phenomenal for the Knicks as that bench piece. So I can see DeLon Wright and Landry Shaman playing big roles for that Knicks bench. One thing I wanted to point out, and let me know how you feel about this. Tobias Harris, he's lost his superpowers ever since his best friend Bojan left him for Luka. Ever since Bojan stopped being best friends with him and started hanging out with Luka, he's never been the same. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Wait, who lost his superpowers?
Tobias Harris.
Boban.
Ever since Boban stopped being his best friend, he lost his superpowers.
I agree. Anyway, hold up real quick. I got a stat for you right now. It's going to make us all really happy about Landry Shamet. In the last 10 games of the regular season, Landry Shamet averaging 12 points, 2 rebounds, and an assist on 49% three-point shooting.
Yeah.
49% from 3. He's hit over 4 in 4 of the last 10 games. That's incredible. He's been ripping from 3. And I hope he does it again starting on Saturday.
And what my last thing when it comes to the Knicks, I forgot to bring it up, and I had it in the back of my head. When Jalen Brunson got injured and he missed, a month and a half of the season, we know we never want to root for injuries, especially when it's our star player, our franchise player. But if there was ever a time for an injury and Jalen Brunson missed that amount of time, this was the perfect time. One, you're resting Jalen Brunson going into the postseason. Two, you were able to see what you have with your bench. DeLon Wright has emerged right now in the absence of Jalen Brunson and earned this minutes. Deuce McBride, Cameron Payne, Landry Shamet. They say pressure makes diamonds, and that's what happened when Jalen Brunson was out. Tom Thibodeau was shining some diamonds in those four guys that I mentioned coming off of the bench. You like that, right? Shining the diamonds.
I'm trying to think of a line that I could come back with here. And maybe when you heat up the something, you got to make the Wu-Tang swords. You got to put the heat on the what do you make? Metal? Is it swords out of metal?
Yeah, swords out of metal.
Heat up the metal to make the Wu-Tang swords, baby. That's right. I was trying to get you back. You know what I mean?
Nah, you good, bro. You good. I want to shout out everybody who's in the building. We got over 206 people watching us collectively. Jack Mack is in the building. Appreciate you, Jack
Mack.
My guy, Future, I appreciate you as well. Future, let me get an update for the Yankee game. It's 9:07. I need an update for both the Yankee and the Met game. Do your job, Mr. Moderator.
And shout out to Jack Mack. That's my guy. That's my brother-in-law, by the way. He goes by Bankroll Jack as well. Guy's been ripping some great bets, with me on Subway Sports Talk for a long time.
Hey.
All right, so we're moving on to the Yankees first or the Mets. I think we might have to talk about the Juan Soto thing first, if I'm being honest, right here.
Yeah, go ahead. Lead the convo with the Juan Soto comments. Go ahead, bro.
Because I'm glad that we're here, and it's 6-3 Yankees. Ben Rice had a 2-run single. Shout out to Future, man. That's the guy keeping us up to date. And right now, we do have to talk about this because it's not actually just a Met conversation, heck. It is a Met-Yankee conversation. And I don't know if you're feeling some of this tension. I threw my little joke at you guys with your Yankee Discord if you had a shadow ban the word Juan Soto in there. But the comments that he made earlier this week about not having Aaron Judge behind him anymore, boy, did that rub people the wrong way. Boy, did it A, piss off Mets fans, and B, it gave every Yankee fan every little joke that they could ever make back to all their Mets fans' friends. So sitting here as a Mets fan who tries to be objective, tries not to overreact, I was just like, come on. Now we got to deal with this. Now Pete Alonso's getting weird stuff talked about him on Twitter. There was a video of Soto after his home run. It looked like he didn't dap up Pete Alonso, but he did. It was just kind of half off camera. And people like, oh, look at this. There must be some problems in the Mets locker room. Like, yo, can we chill? So am I being too reasonable here? Am I trying too hard to make this not a thing? Or do you think there is a real reason to be concerned with the comments from Juan Soto?
First of all, shout out to Future as he put it in the chat. It's 4-1 Pete, 4-1 Mets Pete. Shout out to my guy Future. No, you're not being irrational, right? When you look at the comments that Juan Soto made, he didn't say anything wrong. I feel he didn't say anything wrong. And in the world where people want baseball players and want athletes to be honest, right? Stop beating around the bush. Stop sugarcoating what you really want to say. We got a guy who said what was on his chest. And was it anything wrong? No, because right now, Aaron Judge is hitting over 400. Aaron Judge is having a video game type start to this season. Aaron Judge hit 62 season a few years ago. He's probably the best right-handed hitter in baseball. So that's not a knock on anybody else that's on the New York Mets, right? Juan Soto is just stating facts. And if you're an opposing team, who would you rather face? Juan Soto or Pete Alonso right now? You face Pete Alonso, even though Pete Alonso is on fire. Last year, who would you rather face? Juan Soto or Aaron Judge? And people will rather pitch to Juan Soto than Aaron Judge.
Yeah, he didn't say a lie, man. Like the famous online Twitter word, whatever you say, spot the lie. There's none. He wasn't lying. What are we talking about here? Yeah, of course. Is it going to suck a little bit for Pete Alonso to hear that? And then for Pete Alonso to turn around and go, you know what? I'm not the best hitter in baseball. I guess that makes sense. And guess what? I also like getting all these great pitches because no one wants to pitch to Soto. They'd rather pitch to me. So guess what? It's a win-win in my perspective. Yes. Soto is trying to figure out a new way of attacking the plate because he's getting pitched a little bit different this year. And guess what? He's going to be okay. And I want to keep the same energy that a lot of the haters have right now. And that's not just Yankee fans, by the way. That's Met fans and Yankees fans. Keep that same energy when he inevitably hits 285 with a 900 OPS and 30 plus home runs. Okay. Like he said nothing wrong. And heck, I love that you said about all of us people out here on social media and in the media world where we go, oh, we just want athletes to be authentic. No, we don't. we're lying. Unless their authenticity is the Anthony Edwards when he's goofing off in type stuff. We do love that type of authenticity. But any real type of authenticity where you speak your mind and speak facts, we hate that. And I'm not talking about me and you. I'm talking about the collective. It's the Kevin Durant conundrum. Everyone says, we want authenticity. Kevin Durant goes out there and speaks his mind. And what does he do? He gets crapped on left and right.
Absolutely.
So it's a no-win situation from a media and fan perspective when you say anything honest.
Yeah, it's the mental gymnastics that you see out there, and it's just social media and just in general, seeing people with their takes. Shout out to my guy D Rose in the building. When it comes to the Juan Soto situation, Juan Soto, like you said, at the end of the year, he's going to live up to the back of his baseball card. He's going to hit about 280, 285. He's going to hit 30 home runs, and he's going to drive in 100 RBIs. That's a given for Juan Soto. And like you said, he's just figuring it out differently because, one, he's back in the National League. Two, it's the National League East. And three, he doesn't have Aaron Judge batting behind him. He has Pete Alonso. But like you said, if you're Pete Alonso, you sitting back and you eating good. One, you're going into a contract year. Pete Alonso, I know he's 0 for 3 right now, right? But even though he was 0 for 3 8 right now versus the Cardinals, Pete Alonso's hitting 348, Pete.
Yeah, he been a beast.
348. If you would have told Met fans in the offseason when they re-signed Pete Alonso that on April 17th, he's going to be hitting 348, Met fans would have been like, you're a liar, Pete. I don't take you serious. And now it's like, you could, damned if you do, damn if you don't, if you're Pete Alonso.
Yeah, 100%, bro. And like Pete Alonso is doing more than we could have ever asked for right now. And hopefully he keeps it up to some extent, right? And even if he has a career year, it still won't be as good as Aaron Judge because Aaron Judge is incredible. He's not just the best right-handed hitter today. He might be one of the best right-hand hitters of all time, right? Yeah. That's what we're talking about. So if you are going to get butthurt about not being called the best hitter in baseball behind Juan Soto, you got bigger fish to fry. And it didn't seem to affect Pete Alonso just yet. He raked yesterday. He hasn't raked so far tonight, but he's fine. And guess what? Lindor is also going to get better pitches. And ultimately, Mark Vientos, who hit his first home run of the season finally here against St. Louis, like all these guys are going to end up eating, and a rising tides lifts all ships here. Yeah. I said this idea the other day, Heck. I'm curious what you think about it. It was a little bit chaotic. You might have seen it on TikTok or whatever.
Go ahead.
Mark Vientos needed a boost. And the Mets did this. They moved him down. They said, all right, you know what? Maybe you don't need all this pressure. Let's put you down to 6. But then all of a sudden, who's up after Mark Vientos in the 7, 8, 9? Maybe Jesse Winker, maybe Brett Beatty, Luis Torrens, Luis Acuna. That ain't scary. That's not scaring a pitcher, right? So now what happened on this game here, you put Vientos in the 4 slot with Nimmo behind him, with Pete right in front of him, and Vientos gets a great pitch to hit, grooves one to right field, hits his first home run of the year. I love that idea. Move him up. Now, I mentioned maybe put him 3 behind Juan Soto to try to get him some of that good food that Pete's been eating. Do you think that's crazy to me? Do you think that's crazy, the idea of moving someone up when they're struggling rather than down?
And no, I even want to piggyback. Forget put him in 3. Put him in the 2 hole. Put him in front of Juan Soto, right? Put him behind Francisco Lindor. Because when you look at Mark Vientos being a righty, you want that versatility in the lineup. With Francisco Lindor as a switch hitter, Mark Vientos as a righty, Juan Soto as a lefty, with Pete Alonso as a righty, that gives you a solid 1 through 4. And Mark Vientos is going to benefit when it comes to Juan Soto hitting behind him. And Juan Soto has admitted, and he said this is something that Yankee fans were talking about last year. He wants to be a 3-hole hitter. He does not want to be a 2-hole hitter. So if you want Juan Soto to be comfortable, to be the best version of himself, you put him in the 3-hole. You put Mark Vientos in that 2nd spot. Get Mark Vientos better pitches to hit. And with Francisco Lindor, when he gets on base, that makes it easier for Mark Vientos to eat. Because you got now a runner on first with Juan Soto behind you. They have to pitch to you. They can't just throw the 4 breaking pitches down and away because you're going to swing at it, right? They have to give you that fastball.
And I'll even say this too. The Mets aren't scared of batting 2 righties back to back, unlike the Yankees, right? Like we know the Yankees are obsessed with this right, left. And that's a little dig for you guys, just real quick. But the Mets aren't afraid to do it. They just put Pete 3 and Vientos 4. And I do understand that it's nuts to break up the Soto Alonso thing right now because of what Pete's been doing. But also, we can't forget that just 2.5 weeks ago when this season tipped off or kicked off, whatever it was, that we expected and hoped for the best version of this team to have Mark Vientos in the top 4 of this lineup, right? He's been struggling. So we all quickly recalibrated and said, no, he's struggling. Let's move him away.
Yeah.
No, the best version of this offense has Lindor, Soto, Vientos, and Alonso in that front four in whatever order you want to put them in, right? So if you want to get to the best version of this offense, you need to put it together and push the envelope a little bit. And maybe this first home run could be a swinging point for Mark Vientos.
No, definitely. And shout out to Mark Vientos, right? He's a friend of Latino sports. He gives us so many great interviews. So shout out to Mark Vientos. Good guy. One person that I want to bring up, another friend of Latino sports, Francisco Lindor, because he's hitting 271 right now. Last year, Pete, he was below the Mendoza line and everybody, he's washed. We need to trade Francisco Lindor. The fact that fans, and this is the one thing that irritates me, even with Yankee fans, and I'm be the first one to complain about Brian Cashman, but when credit is due and people do not give credit, that's something that irritates me. Yes, I'm the first one to stand on top of the hill screaming if something is going wrong or if something is not to my liking. But at the same time, when something is different and when something actually works, I'm going to give it credit. So credit to Francisco Lindor and his start to this season, because hitting 271 right now with Juan Soto having the struggles that he's having, with Pete Alonso having an amazing start to the season, I think that just makes it so much better for this Met team.
So just to give some stats to what you're talking about exactly here, Francisco Lindor so far this year, like you just said, batting 270. He only has the one home run right now. But last year in March and April, like you mentioned, it was ugly. He batted 197 in March and April in 29 games and hit 5 home runs in that month, but 197 with an OPS plus well under 100. Like that's where we were at last year. This tide is starting to rise, and I see it in Lindor for sure.
Yeah. And something I want to ask you as the Met fan, why isn't Francisco Lindor? He's never been an all-star with the New York Mets, bro. Like what's going on?
It's because of that. Can you imagine he's finished in the MVP ballot multiple years as a Met and hasn't been an all-star? And last year he finished second, obviously. He's just started too slow. I mean, last year it was the clear difference. As soon as he moved to that one slot, he completely changed the whole game there, right? So March and April, he was 197. May, he got better, 260. But then June, 290. July, 275. August, 325. September, 312. So that's why. He's just been a slow starter his entire time here with the Mets. And right now, he's at that marker where, he continues on this pace and he's an all-star, because he's going to get that little bit of a bump because of what he did last year now. And people see the numbers at least at that standard marker for an all-star, and he's locked in because he deserves it. He really does.
Yeah, shout out to my guy D Rails that is in the chat as well. Mark Vientos need to be moved to that number 2 spot. No, I agree with you. Hey, listen, if I was the brain trust with the Mets, I know I'm not, but if I was, that would be the number 1 through 4 to me. It will be Francisco Lindor leading it off, Mark Vientos in your 2-hole, Juan Soto in the position he wants to be in as a 3-hole hitter, and the big polar bear as your cleanup guy.
Oh my God! Look at the next comment.
Jazz has been ejected. Why is Jazz being ejected, bro?
What's going on?
Listen, one thing. Can we talk about the ABS? Are we done with the Mets? I want to talk about the ABS.
We're done.
With the ABS. Listen, in Major League Baseball, we need the ABS system. All right, it's 2025, right? I understand the human element that's involved in Major League Baseball, but if we're going to invest this much time watching it as fans, covering it as content creators, working for sports media as well, can we get the calls right, bro? Can we make sure the call is actually what the call is? I don't want to go the next day to umpire score grade car and see that every umpire was under the 96th percentile Major League Baseball once. I don't want to see that anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm done with it. What are we doing here? All reviews across all sports. Let's just get better. You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be. I mean, the reviews in baseball aren't that big of a deal here, but with basketball right now, can we put a shot clock on the reviews? How about that? We got a shot clock on every possession. How about a shot clock on the review? Referee goes over. As soon as he's able to click go on the video, start the clock, 24 seconds or even do 30, right? And then all of a sudden, if he don't figure it out, call stands.
The call stands.
I don't know yet. Call stand. Sorry.
No definitive evidence. We weren't able to get it in the allotted time. The call stands. I agree.
Yeah. And with baseball, like same concept here. Everyone's going to complain about refs or umpires. Everyone's going to have something to say. But at the end of the day, like you are going to end up kind of evening out here and there about who gets this call, who gets that call. I don't care. Just make it clear. Make it simple. as simple as possible, we'll all be happy.
Oh, hold on, I got to show it right now. So it was an umpire. Thank you,
Oh my
Future.
God.
I appreciate it. So wow, those were called strikes right there, and that was actually a ball. Oh my God, yeah.
Guy was
Listen.
pepper in the corner. Jesus.
Listen, it's easy to sit back, hindsight, 50-50, 60-60, whatever the hell that phrase is. It's easy to
2020. You almost got there.
whatever. Yeah, I almost got there. Whatever the phrase is, it's easy to just fall back and just blame the umpires, right? But when you see it, Pete, it is egregious how disgusting it's been to start the season. We're not even like you've seen Aaron Boone. I know a lot of people beat up on Aaron Boone. Like we need Boone to be more animated. The way that Aaron Boone goes after these umpires, and it's horrible calls. Yeah, I would be frustrated too if I was Aaron Boone.
Oh my God. Aaron Judge has the biggest gripe of anybody. I mean, he gets the craziest balls and strikes called on him of all time. Well, not of all time, possibly, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's obvious when you're watching Judge, this guy's getting screwed. And it don't bother him. He hardly complains too, honestly. He's the consummate pro. But Aaron Boone loves to argue balls and strikes. And honestly, Yankee fans, it might be the only thing they like about him.
Yeah. That's the one thing I love. Listen, Aaron Boone, I'm a fan of Aaron Boone. I know a lot of Yankee fans aren't a fan of Aaron Boone. I've had great conversations with Booney, so I'm a fan of Boone. I understand that when it comes to baseball mind, Aaron Boone is one of the smartest baseball people that are out there. He grew up in this sport with his father and his grandfather, his brother, his entire family. He grew up in Major League Baseball clubhouses. So Aaron Boone has more baseball knowledge in his pinky than I would ever have in my entire body, right? So that's the one thing I got to say. Most Yankee fans get upset with me when I say that, but most Yankee fans hate me, Pete.
But you know what, though? And we always do the comparison for the Mets and the Yankees just because it's easy. And as New Yorkers, tri-state area people, like, we follow both teams, right? So I don't watch the Cardinals unless they're playing the Mets, but I do watch the Yankees as well as the New York Mets. I think with the Mendoza stuff that people love so much is that he'll do something in the 7th, 8th inning, and it won't be the analytical choice. And he'll go in there in the post game, whether it worked or not, and he'll say, "Hey, I made a decision. It worked today. It might not work tomorrow." And I think fans just love that so much, whether they're right or wrong. Hearing your coach say, "Yes, I trusted my gut." They eat that up. And Boone is always, the decision's the decision. You know, we made the decision based on the knowledge that we have, and we did what we thought we should do best. And it doesn't matter what his gut says. His gut could be screaming to do the opposite thing, and he won't do it. So that's what frustrates people. But that's baseball, Susan.
Yeah, that's baseball, Susan. Like you said, listen, when it comes down to it, did I like the Nestor Cortez move in the World Series against Freddie Freeman? Absolutely not. I hated it. I was at a bar. I was doing a watch party, Pete. It was awesome. And that happened. And it was down here from there. The Yankees lost the World Series just after game 1. I understand it. But context, the Yankees are driven by analytics, and that's the one thing that fans hate. It comes down from Brian Cashman and his gang of nerds and their calculators, right? And I understand you hate it when the analytics doesn't work, but when the analytics work, the fans are crickets. And I bring up the torpedo bats that everybody loved to hate on. It was the Yankees analytic department that saw that Jazz Chisholm needed this certain type of bat, that Anthony Volpe needed this certain type of bat. And when it actually works, it's crickets, it's silence. And that's what frustrates me when having these conversations with quote unquote fans.
Well, I'm glad you brought this up because it's a perfect segue to my thought about the Yankees right here, right now. The Yankees have a core competency that is so high that you have to get mad about something, right? Like the Yankees have been playing decent ball over the first, 18 games so far? Now 19 when this game ends here. Almost, let's call it 20 to say an even number. They're playing decent ball and they're still winning. That's what they do. They are so competent at large as an organization that you have to nitpick. It's the only thing that fans have left. Because if you just tried to be happy all the time, I mean, that's a crazy idea, but you'd have plenty to be happy about because they're so consistently good, even when they're not hot, when they're not hitting, 9 home runs in a game, when they're not pitching, 1-run games. They're just that level of good. And I know when you're there for so long, you have nothing left to nitpick and be angry about something. But this is what Knicks fans are going through right now too. The Knicks are now in the playoffs for 4 out of 5 years. Amazing. We're not used to this, right? But now here we are. Let's nitpick Mikal Bridges. Let's nitpick OG and Cat. Let's nitpick the hell out of Tom Thibodeau. That's a luxury, right? When these teams suck, What you're trying to do is, oh, but you know what? I do like, I'm trying to think of like a crappy player. Like I do kind of like Mindaugas Kuzminskas. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what that's what the Knicks fans were doing for 10 years. You know what?
The Frank Hive.
Not Landry Shamet. I was about to say Landry Fields. Landry Fields, you know, the Knicks aren't as good anymore, but you know, I like how he showed up 3 years ago with some pride as a rookie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what Knicks fans had. That was the only thing they were allowed to even root for because you had to find something. You know, Dennis Smith Jr., when we traded for him, you know, maybe that one dunk was nice, right?
Oh man,
It's a
They're like,
luxury.
yeah, he missed the
nitpick.
playoffs, but Ron Baker has nice hair. It's very quaffy.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a luxury to nitpick. And if more fans kind of treated it as a luxury to get frustrated about little things, we'd all be happier. But we don't want to be happy here in New York, man. We like it tough. We make it hard for ourselves.
Yeah, no, you hit it right on the head, especially from that perspective. Because if you look at the Yankees over the past 20, 25 years, if the Cincinnati Reds had the history that the Yankees had over the past 20, 25 years, constantly being in the postseason, winning a championship in 2009 and 2000, people would take it and people would celebrate the Cincinnati Reds. But because it's the New York Yankees and because we're New Yorkers and we live in the constant "what have you done for me lately" mind frame, we just nick and pick and we don't get happy. I'm happy that I can say that as a Yankee fan, I grew up rooting for a team that was constantly in the postseason, that was trying to compete each year. It didn't go our way. I'm not going to be upset about it. I always said this, Pete. I would sacrifice every Yankee championship that I ever saw in my life for one Knicks championship.
Oh, dude.
For one Knicks championship.
Well, as a Mets fan, I don't have the luxury to sacrifice any championships.
I wasn't throwing that out there just for shade. Sorry, Pete.
The only championship I could sacrifice is one of the two Giants Super Bowls. And you know what? At this point, I'll just wait. I'll just wait for the Knicks Mets championship at this point. But no, I got a question for you, Heck, on the Yankees. I know we're going to start wrapping up and maybe talking a little MCU for a minute.
Oh, yeah, we're going to a little sneeze.
But with the Yankees' new pieces, and I want that to include not just like new acquisitions, but like the Dominguez, right? Who now joined the lineup officially as a new guy. So all the new guys, the Bellingers, the Goldschmidts, the Dominguezes, who has excited you the most? Who has given you the most confidence of anyone new who's been consistently in the lineup?
Oh, to me, it's Paul Goldschmidt. Paul Goldschmidt this year, the big veteran. He's hitting .357 on the season. The Yankees signed him for $12 million. That's a steal. One of the steals in the offseason, right? I know you asked about Dominguez, but for me, it's definitely Paul Goldschmidt. When you put him in the leadoff spot and you told this former veteran who is up there in age, like, hey, you don't need to carry us on your back. All you need to do is get on base so Aaron Judge can drive you in. And on the season right now, his on-base percentage is over 400. He's hitting .350. He is doing everything you could have ever wanted from Paul Goldschmidt. No shade to Anthony Rizzo, right? Because the injury that happened to Rizzo when Fernando Tatis' ass smacked him in the head, you cannot blame Rizzo. At that time, Rizzo was hitting .310. He already had double digits in home runs. He was on way to being an all-star in the American League for the first base position. That's how good of a start of the season he got off to. Then that injury happened, and it is what it is. But with Paul Goldschmidt, the reason why I'm more excited is because he was the afterthought, right? After we lost out to Juan Soto, we bring in Max Fried, big-time free agent. We trade for Cody Bellinger. We trade for the best closer in baseball, Devin Williams. That conversation need to happen again. But then he was just an afterthought with Paul Goldschmidt. And everybody said Paul Goldschmidt is washed. He could never be the former player that he was. And he's proven a bunch of people wrong. And I'm super excited what I'm seeing out of Goldie.
No, it's been incredible. And we had all these conversations. Who's batting leadoff for the Yankees? Oh, Austin Wells. He led off the season with a home run. Oh my God, this is going to be awesome. And that cooled off really quickly. And Goldschmidt has stepped up in a major way. Yeah, he's only hit one home run, but he's batting .350 with a 400 OBP. You know, it's special stuff what he's doing right now. And then Ben Rice. I know he was up with the Yankees last year for a bit too, but Ben Rice, my Lord. He's doing some big things right now. Obviously, the home runs are huge. He's got 5 on the year. I know Future put in the chat before. He had a huge two-run hit before. And then last but not least, you just mentioned Max Fried. Not just as advertised. Absolute dog. I mean, he's 4-0 with a 1.88 ERA in 24 innings. He struck out 28. Come on. Only walked 5. He's been special so far. Everything you could have asked for and more.
Yeah, the one disappointment, and that I gotta say is Rodon.
Yeah.
Carlos Rodon. I was really looking forward to Los having a big season this year. And when you look at it, right, it's just one inning that's bad for Carlos Rodon. And if John Boy played the clip, and they was playing the broadcasters
Yes.
from the Chicago from the Chicago White Sox that said, "Oh well, this is what happens. This is leading to a bad inning just from one mistake." And it's always that one inning that he just loses himself and he doesn't compose himself. In the first game of the season, when he for opening day, he had that inning, Pete. He only gave up 3 runs that game, but he had that inning when guys got. And what did he do? He stepped off and he composed himself. And we have not seen that from Carlos Rodon since game 1. And we've seen Rodon when he's on, he is money. He has one of the best pitch mixes that you can ask for with his slider and his fastball combination. They come out of the same arm slot, so it's very decisive. It's just when he has that one bag inning, things just unravel and he loses his mechanics.
Yeah, it's me when I'm playing MLB The Show with Kodai Senga,
God.
and I got 10 strikeouts through 5. I'm like, I'm cooking right now. And then I hang one forkball. It's game over.
Can I just admit I suck in that game, right? So I hate like people who are good in MLB The Show. Like when I play video games, Pete, I want to escape reality. I want to be in a I don't want to have the same timing like Aaron Judge. No, slow the shit up, all right?
Yo, I've been playing too because I'm off from my full-time job this week. At least I don't have to go in the office, so I've been playing a little bit. And it's hard, man. It's hard. I play on Hall of Fame against the computer, and like I don't win every game. And honestly, I'm a little different than you. I think I want to lose every once in a while. I want to have, because you know what I want? Why? When I lose, I had a game the other day, bro. I hit a grand slam tied 6-6 with Whit Merrifield. Come on.
Of all
Guy's
people.
a 60 overall. He stinks. And I hit a grand slam with this dude. I'm like, damn, let's go. Bottom of the 8th grand slam. Now I'm up by 4. It's over. Gave up 3 home runs in the fucking ninth.
Listen, my last TikTok live game streaming I did, I was getting my ass whooped by the computer on Rookie, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go back to playing Resident Evil.
No, that's crazy. On Rookie, no, you can't be getting watched on Rookie. Heck, that's crazy.
Oh man. Last thing on the Yankees, and I want to get your perspective on this. And I know I brought him up, Devin Williams. I think a lot of Yankee fans or just baseball fans in general are making a big deal out of Devin Williams' struggles. He hardly pitched in spring training. When you look at his career splits for the month of April and May, he has a career 3.86 ERA. It's after May when it starts ticking down and he becomes the dominant closer that we're used to seeing from Devin Williams. What's your thoughts? Did Pete Alonso steal his soul, or is just people acting a little bit too out of pocket right now?
If you ask me in a group chat with Yankee fans, yeah, absolutely. Pete Alonso stole his soul. But nah, in reality, he's going to be fine, dude. And you know what sucks too is that Luke Weaver took over this spot in the playoffs last year and dominated. And what has Luke Weaver done this year? He's dominated again. So right now, the Yankees are looking at all these new pieces, and it's kind of feast or famine, right? Fried's been incredible, but Bellinger's kind of stunk. Goldschmidt's been incredible, but whatever. The next guy, or Devin Williams, kind of stunk so far. But also at the end of the day, like Devin Williams, and you look at the stats and stuff, it's a different beast when it comes to relievers, right? You can get a save where you're up 3, give up a run, and your ERA skyrockets, right? So like, don't look at the stats. I know it's been frustrating. I know he's walking some folks, but that's okay. Like he's gonna be okay. He's got a proven enough track record that he's gonna get right. Like you don't go from how good he's been to falling off the map like that. Like if you've been a guy who's up and down every other year, 1 year you got a 2.0, the next you got a 7.2, fine. You have ups and downs. This dude's been 1.2, 1.5, 1.9, 2.5 for the last 5 years. He's good, bro. He's going to get right. I'm not worried at all.
Yeah, and another player that I want to highlight for the Yankees in their bullpen, somebody that Brian Cashman acquired, is Fernando Cruz. The Boricua from Cincinnati on the season, right? When you look at his stats, he pitched in 8 games, 2.79 ERA, 0.93 WHIP, in 9 2/3 innings, 16 strikeouts, basically almost double the strikeouts when it comes to innings pitched. He to me was the biggest steal outside of Paul Goldsmith this offseason. And another move that Brian Cashman did that he needs to get credit for. And he flipped him. He was able to get him for Jose Trevino, who was a Friends backup catcher, probably going to be the third catcher on the depth chart for the New York Yankees. And again, this is a time where Yankee fans does not give Brian Cashman his flowers. And he needs to get those flowers right. I say Brian Cashman, because he's going to crash out on these Yankee fans.
Again, the ESPN right there. I was about to make a crash out pun as well. That's fantastic. Now you're right though. And the pen, listen, it's always good for the Yankees. Devin Williams gonna be fine. I ain't worried about that. And Luke Weaver being as good as he's been in that setup role is a weapon. It's an absolute weapon. So just appreciate that why you got it as well.
Yeah,
I want to
go multiple innings too. That's the key. He could pitch in that 7th and 8th inning and pass it off to Devin Williams. My fault, bro. Go ahead.
No, you're all good. I was going to shout out Mike Yu again real quick because he wanted to know what happened to our boys Gallo and TIO Al. He's throwing shade as he does. Mike from Brooklyn always got a little something extra on his comments there because Anthony Gallo, I was producing for him, and our friend Positive Jeff, friend of the program here, friend of TIO Al, he lives in Tucson, and Gallo was hosting, and he goes, this is Jeff in Tucson. And Mike, you will not let him live it down. He will not. And then Al, of course, Al's been doing overnights. Gallo's in the middle of a move, so we missed them tonight, but we'll be back real soon on TIO Al Friends. So no
hey, Mike, if you want to get Gallo, get a custom license plate. Just put the state of Tuscan on it. All right, that could be.
That's great. That's fantastic. But what's up, man? What do we got? We got in the total viewers today. How we looking?
Total views. We're at 280 people watching us right now collectively. We got up to 290. Appreciate all of you guys. When it comes to subscribers, right now we are sitting at 5,075 subscribers. So appreciate all the new subscribers. Folks, if you're watching for the first time, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, drop a super chat. It helps us keep the lights on over here, Uptown Sports TV, when it comes to paying for StreamYard and et cetera, et cetera. But Pete, before we get out of here, I wanted to hijack the show and talk about something that Al would hate us to talk about. But we have to talk about that dang on Marvel's TV show, Daredevil. It was amazing this week, bro. And you had a prediction video that I was interested to see what would happen, right? And go ahead. I'll let you speak on it first, and then I'll add on to it.
And you know what, though? And my prediction obviously did not come true. I wish there was some sort of aspect of it that did, though, right? So to give you the insight, and this is spoilers, right? So if anyone's watching this right now and you haven't watched the finale of Daredevil Born Again, I'm giving you like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to get the hell up on out of here. So, and that's just for you. That hurts our numbers, but it's for you. I'm trying to help you out. But Wilson Fisk gets saved by Matthew Murdock as he jumps in front of Fisk to take the bullet, right? So my thought was Fisk is going to use this to his advantage. Fisk is somehow, some way going to take this heroic moment from the blind lawyer and put him in the public eye as a hero to make this idea of Matt Murdock having this like now devil on angel on his shoulder situation where he goes, damn, now everyone knows that this blind lawyer just did a crazy heroic act. How am I going to put the suit on now? But then obviously when he realizes why Fisk is doing what he's doing, he gets driven to put the suit on and get born again and go crazy, right? So we didn't get any of that. But the only complaint I had on the whole episode, heck, is that we got to the episode and boom, Fisk was like, all right, kill him. That's it. He was like, all right, go kill him. There was no thought, like contemplation of this dude just saved my life. What do I do? Do I just take him hostage? Do I do X, Y, Z? Now he's like, nah, better to have a dead hero than a live vigilante, which is a bar, by the way.
No, definitely was a bar when he said it. But my perspective on it, I was right there with you. Everything you said when he said, I was like, where is this coming from? But it was at the end when you realize he never stopped being Kingpin. He was even when he was recovering after being shot in the face or whatever happened, on Echo. I love that show also. Even though he was always Kingpin. And to me, when you realize that, when the veil is taken down, because you thought he just took a step back and Vanessa, she took over the business and she was running things and she was the real king. No, he never stopped being Kingpin. And when you realize that, then you're like, oh, that's why it was okay for him to be like, yo, kill Matthew. You said to use it to his advantage. He did use that to his advantage. He used it to black out the city and to have his guy go try to murder Matthew.
Yeah, it's true. He still did obviously use it to his advantage. And you are right. That's the perfect read. And that was the beauty of this show to me. there was a lot of new characters. We got Cherry, we got Kirsten or Kristen McDuffie, you got Heather, you got some new pieces who popped up, right? But obviously, at the end of the day, if you got Fisk and Daredevil, you got gold. Like every time those two were on the screen, to me, it worked. And I know with the reshoots of the shows and the revamp, idea of what they were looking to make, things changed, and you can tell which episodes were kind of like the new vision and the old vision. And some people complain about that. Like we said, people be complaining. It's all good. That thing between Murdoch and Fisk, it just hits. And then you brought Karen and Punisher back in, and it was cinema. Like, it was true cinema peak, as they say on the internet, right? Like, that whole relationship between Punisher and Daredevil is a banger. And this was a taste. And I know some people say, oh, I don't want to hear it, that this is like a mid-season. This should be a full fleshed out thing. Well, guess what? It ain't. But we know right now that season 2 is not pulling any punches. And we know that what's in their arsenal is extremely strong.
Yeah. And to go back on the characters that came back, Punisher, Karen, seeing the swordsman at the end locked up as well, and seeing so many different characters that when they do pop up on screen, like, oh my God, I forgot they was there, because the acting that you're getting from both Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio, tremendous, especially for Vincent. I was always been a big fan of him ever since Men in Black when he was the cockroach. Vincent D'Onofrio is an amazing actor. When he was on Law and Order, and he always just bent his neck towards people like, what do you mean? He's a phenomenal actor, and he shows his range. He has a huge range. And to me, when Daredevil and Punisher got into that fight with those cops in that apartment, I was worried to be like, how is Disney going to nerf the Punisher? How are they going to nerf this man? Because we know the Punisher, he's just rah, gang, I'm going to run down on you and I'm going to shoot you. And that's what he did in this episode. He got shot. It's like, I just thought it was amazing.
How about this? Punisher brutally murders multiple of those task force cops that are, bad guys, right? Like ripping out their gullet, shooting them in the head, banging their face on the whatevers. And then Cole North, the last guy, the guy who killed Hector Ayala. Yeah. Matt holds back. He's like, it's not what I would want. It's not what I want. I don't want to kill him. And then he just turns and goes, yeah, well, what about this guy?
That was funny. That was, I chuckled when I was laughing at, because their chemistry works so well. And John Bertho is a phenomenal actor, and you can tell he really takes this character. He embodies Frank Castle from the comic books. He embodies that Daredevil character that we all grew up falling in love with, and I think it's phenomenal. And you see it play out on screen so well. I'm super excited for season 2. Was that a season finale? That was season finale?
That was a finale. Yeah.
That was a finale. Oh, goddamn, that sucks.
But it's coming back. Like, it's not one of these things now that's going to take 2 more years to make season 2. Like, season 2 is cooking already. Like, this will be back next year. And their hope, I think, what I've seen from like rumor accounts and stuff like that, is like they want this to be like, every year we got 9 for you guys. Every year we got 8 for you guys. Because that's what they have in the bag, bro. They really have that much to work with this character. There's such a deep history from the comics for them to pull from, and then obviously all the MCU stuff that they can pull into it as well. Like, this could be special. And I know we all want to see Daredevil on the big screen. We want to see Fisk on the big screen. There's some rights BS that happened with that so far, that he hasn't been able to be in a movie, whatever. We'll see what happens. But no, it's special what they're cooking with over there. I think it was really good what they got with Daredevil Born Again.
Last thing I want to ask you, when it comes to the whole Red Hook project, when it comes to the whole to me, it felt like that was like Genosha. Like, that felt like a tie-in. It's a country within a state, and that's what it kind of felt like. Am I off, or am I just looking too much? Yeah,
it's lawless. And what is that going to lead to? My guess is that this is going to be this little empire that, like, the United States government is not allowed to touch. And guess who is allowed to touch it? Heroes, right? But also villains, right? So who does Fisk bring in? We keep talking now, because all the talks online is, we need an army. That's what Matt said. So we're thinking about Luke Cage and Jessica Jones and XYZ. What about the army that Fisk is going to put together? It's not just going to be Wilson Fisk and the Vigilante Task Force. No, there's gonna be some dogs coming through in season 2, not just on the good guy side.
No, shout out to my guy, the Ace Avenue, who is in the building. Ace, how you doing, my guy? Ace is another dope Yankee content creator that he talks movie and comics as well. And how about that Fantastic Four trailer? Great segue into the next conversation before we get out of here. I thought what we've seen, what I've seen, I want to speak for you, Pete. What I've seen coming out from the Fantastic Four stuff, it's been phenomenal. Pedro Pascal, he is my Reed Richards, Sue Storm, The Thing, like Johnny Flames. It just looks amazing, and I love that retro, futuristic Jetson feel vibes to it that's going on. Obviously, you could tell it's not set in the same Earth or the same universe as the main Marvel MCU timeline, and I think they're going to use that whole timeline situation to bring them over. Obviously, Galactus is going to come and just eat everything up. We all know that's going to happen, but I'm interested to see how they pivot and connect the Fantastic Four to the main MCU timeline.
I'll put it like this. The Silver Surfer is Juan Soto. He comes up first, right? He's like, yo, what up? You can't really handle me, but guess Aaron Judge is right here. You can't handle him for sure. So then Galactus comes in and really messes them up real bad. So that whole vibe that they're capturing and creating with Fantastic Four, I'm all in. I think Pedro Pascal is locked. He's locked in. And he said, I don't know if you know the TikTok creator, Sammy J Reacts. He's always doing like Marvel content and stuff like that. Every time Vanessa Kirby comes on the screen, he goes, mommy. But but that whole crew right now, it's coming together. And they really, I hope they don't give away too much in these trailers. They already broke that she's pregnant. Shout out to the Ace Avenue again in the comments here, dropping that she's pregnant. And Franklin Richards, like, this is a whole new world of people who haven't read comics, who aren't up to date with what's gone down, that this is their new storyline. And to talk big picture for a second, because I'm obviously excited about the Fantastic Four film, people talking about the MCU at large saying, what's their next Infinity Saga? What's their next big bad? What's their next XYZ? It's always been the Fantastic Four. This is the first family. This is the one of the most impressive comic runs, multiple comic runs, right? Over the last 60, 70 years, whatever it's been. It's always been them. Yeah. And now that they can have them together for the first time because of the rights and the XYZ, this is the real path for the MCU to get back to that level where people are truly excited about everything happening again. And of course, people are nitpicking. Why is Silver Surfer a woman? Because that's a real character from the comics, okay? Like, I want to put a thing on Twitter, like, when you type in a tweet, I want something to pop up. Would you like to Google this first?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because,
something, like,
Grok should be a little proactive, right? Let's get Grok on the forefront of these tweets and be like, hey, before you tweet this, maybe check out this article because I believe what you're saying is completely wrong, right? Like, but people are going to nitpick and they're going to do what they do with the Yankees too, right? We just talked about it. When you're the MCU and you're up here for that long, you're going to get crapped on when people have the chance to. But this is the ticket. Franklin Richard is one of the most powerful beings in the Marvel universe. Dr. Doom is coming. These things make sense. These things can culminate into an extremely special experience based over the next, handful of years, not just one project.
Yeah, you seeing the seeds that the MCU and Marvel has been planting when it comes to the young Avengers. That's why all their IPs that they've released over the past few years, it always has that young superhero, that young character, because they're trying to hint at the West Coast, the young Avengers and stuff like that. When you look at the big bads that they tried to hype up, from Kane the Conqueror to Dr. Doom, there's not a mistake. There's no mistaking that those are two big bads that are Fantastic Four big bads. Those are Fantastic Four villains, and that wasn't by mistake because, like you said, they've been waiting to get the Fantastic Four back. A big part of that whole Spider-Man Sony deal was to make sure, Sony, you don't put out any more Fantastic Four shit so we could get the rights back and do it properly. If you want to keep on doing Spider-Man stuff, you could keep on doing Spider-Man stuff, but the only way we're working with you is if you stop doing anything Fantastic Four.
Yeah, and you know what? All these people online being like, how is Spider-Man in New York when all this is going down? He's not showing up? Bro, come on. I know we all would love to see it. It would make great sense. Just like in your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, the animated show, Daredevil or Spider-Man on the screen together, animated, electric, right? We know we can't get that right now. We just can't. And it sucks. I wish we could. But guess what we do have? The Fantastic Four coming through with a cast that seems awesome, with CGI that doesn't seem like it's going to take people out of the film, which people love to say that line. Oh, the CGI really takes me out. Like, relax, bro. We used to watch Daredevil in 2005. That's some of the worst CGI I've ever seen in my life. And I was sitting there like, yo, this slaps. I love this stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Silver Surfer from 2007, they're side by sides today. Like, yo, how come the old one looks better? It doesn't. Go watch it.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's just,
and it was still dope. It's all good.
What it is, Pete, is the neckbeards, right, that don't know about the stories, right? I cannot wait for when they get upset when they see Thor and Hercules fucking make out on scene. On screen. I cannot wait for that moment that Thor and Hercules, they have a love scene together on screen. They're gonna lose their mind.
Bro, people who complain about the MCU and the X-Men being woke, I'm like, bruh, the entire basis of the social commentary since the 50s has been like this. Like, bruh, the X-Men been horny and a little gay all along, bruh. It's all good.
So tell me you didn't know Professor Xavier and Magneto's were allegories for Dr. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Tell me that you didn't know that the Morlocks were representation for the LGBTQ community. Tell me you don't know X-Men without telling me you don't know about the X-Men.
That's what I'm saying. Morph and Wolverine. People seen that on screen, they go wild, bro.
Crazy.
It's great. I love it though. It's so good. I think we're coming back to MCU. All of us nerds out here, we're on the way up.
No, we definitely are.
Without Al Cintron.
Shout out to TIO Al. We miss you, TIO Al. We miss you, Anthony Gallo. We're gonna get ready to wrap things up. Ace, I appreciate you. Ace said Blade 2 had some bad CGI. If we can live through that, and She-Hulk, we can live through anything. Honestly, I like the She-Hulk. I like the She-Hulk show. And again, if you know what She-Hulk is, if you read a She-Hulk comic book, you understand that's exactly what she is. She's like a goofy Deadpool breaking the fourth wall. That's what she does. She's not this big brawl like tank like the Hulk is and breaking stuff up. That's not what She-Hulk is.
Yeah, Hulk was like trying to literally end himself, right? Like he was saying, like literally in the Avenger movie, he's like, I tried to, shoot myself, and the big man spit it out, right? Like I was about to say her name in real life, Tatiana Vaslani. Jessica Walters.
Jessica Waller. No, the Wallers from
Amanda
DC.
Waller.
Yeah.
We're getting all crossed up here now. Yeah. But like she don't have the burdens that and now I was about to say Mark Ruffalo, that Bruce Banner was dealing with, right? It's a different character. It's all good.
Yeah.
It's like people getting mad about stuff. But now we're going crazy off tangent. So it's all good. We are excited as all hell, Hector. And this was a super fun episode.
Yeah, definitely. Yo, Pete, I got to say this. We got to do this again, bro. I appreciate you filling in. I was filling in for Anthony Gallo and TIO Al. Folks in the chat, we appreciate all of you guys. Pete, anything you want to highlight? Any last messages? Any TV shows that you watch that you want the people to watch as well?
Oh man, I'm really enjoying The Studio on Apple TV with Seth Rogen and like a bunch of other people. Catherine Hahn is fantastic in that. Ike Barinholtz. It's basically a show about Seth Rogen's character becomes the head of a studio like a movie studio in California, and it's like the battle between making money and making art and all the mishaps and hilarity that comes with it. It's a really well done show. It gives you a little bit of secondhand anxiety and a lot of laughs. It's really good.
I got to check it out. No, but for me, one of the shows that I've been watching, and Solo Leveling is a good anime that I just started watching. If you guys haven't watched it, I recommend you guys to watch it. Obviously Daredevil ended, so I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to watch next. But
The Last of Us, you tapped in?
Oh yeah.
I'm tapped in. Shout out to Pedro.
Yeah, shout out to another dope. And if you played the video game, you already know what the spoiler is. So get ready for the tears to start flowing. But no, that's a phenomenal show, and the way that you could put the show side by side with the video game, and it's carbon copy, the same thing, carbon copy. And people getting upset about the last. Oh, why are you so woke with the lesbians, bro? It was in the game. It was in the game.
Yeah.
Again, tell me you don't play video games without telling me you don't play video games.
Yeah, 100%. But that show is awesome. Peak. Like you can just tell there's a quality to certain shows, like White Lotus. I know people didn't love season 3, but there's just a quality where it's like this is well made with vision. And it's just good. Like you're just going to enjoy it. Even if it's not perfect, you're going to enjoy your viewing experience. And that's The Last of Us too. Plugs real quick for me. Subway Sports Talk, as always, on your podcast app, on YouTube, on socials at Subway Sports Talk. I'm producing for somebody on Sunday night, 6 to midnight. I don't even know who's hosting them. Maybe it'll be Al or Gallo. Hopefully it'll be awesome if it is. So if you're up listening to the Fan Sunday, 6 to midnight, I'll be producing. I'll take your call.
Nice, nice. Folks, make sure you guys tune into WFAN. Listen to our guy, TIO Al Cintron, who was on the night. Anthony Gallo as well is on late night as well. I was listening to Al last night on his opening. Al's fucking hilarious when he opens the show. Always got to shout out Al. Al, I love you, my guy. But until next time, folks, make sure you guys enjoy this beautiful Yankee weekend, beautiful Mets weekend. The Knicks are playing the Pistons. We got WrestleMania as well. WrestleMania weekend is in effect the 19th and the 20th. I'm working a watch party on the 19th, so that's going to be cool.
And also NFL draft and Knicks playoff game together Thursday night next week. Very exciting night of
the Giants are going to fumble the draft again. The Giants are going to fumble the draft. It is what it is.
Sheesh. All right.
It is what it is. But until next time, folks, like my guy says, like my guy, Jimmy Randazzo loves to says, hug your girlfriend, not your prospects. And until next time, Pete.
It's getting warm out there. Wash your ass.
Later, yeah.